We are going to discover Chamba along with its Suryavanshi Moshun dynasty by going to each and every place connected with its history, culture, and heritage. The Chamba district of Himachal Pradesh of Indian subcontinent falls within Himalayas and more particularly Western Himalayas. The Himalayas is often referred to as the roof of the world because they host the highest peaks on earth, most famously Mount Everest. The river Ravi, which was known as Purshanal during Vedic time and in Sanskrit language, Iravati rises in Bada Bengal as a joint stream formed by the glaciers at Budhal and Tantgari and escapes from the area precipitous gorge. It passes through the Chamba region with a catchment area of about 5,451 square kilometers and oldest Harappan civilization now in Pakistan to meet the river Indus. This site has also produced Paleolithic tools. The river Ravi came into being during one of the last phases of uplift that leads to the mighty range of Himalaya. The river Budhal and Seoul are geologically older than river Ravi. One time the origin of Ravi was taken to be the river Budhal beginning from Mount Kailash. This awfully holy and sacred place is mentioned in all the scriptures of India. The Chamba region is a natural fort. Four mountain ranges surround it. The Himalayan mountains present three well-defined snowy ranges, which constitute the most striking geographical feature in the territory. These run more or less parallel to one another from southeast to northwest and from 80 to 40 miles apart. The first range, the one nearest the plains, is called the Outer Himalaya or Dhauladhar range. Dhauladhar range separates the basin of Beas from that of the river Ravi. The second range is the Mid Himalaya or Pangi range, the Pir Panjal of geologists, forming the watershed between the Ravi and the Chenab. The third is the Inner Himalaya or Zanskar range between the Chenab and the Indus. These ranges are all in general continuity with the main Himalayan chains from the east and are continued westward into Kashmir territory. The lower range called the Hathi Dhar running to the south and the Dhauladhar and parallel to it at a distance of 10 miles as the crow flies. This range, of which the highest point is 5,256 feet mean sea level, is really the inner ridge of the Shiwalik area. A clear view of river Beas, Ravi, Satluj, Chenab and mountain ranges of Dhauladhar, Pir Panjal and Zanskar of Chamba district in an azure sky could be seen from the Pahalwani Mata shrine, which is at a distance of about 11 km from Gandhi Chowk, Dalhousie of district Chamba.
This mountainous region, with altitude ranging from 2000 to 21,000 feet mean sea level, the inhabited area reaches up to 10,000 feet. The district has an area of 6,528 square kilometers.
In the ancient time and before the construction of multiple roads, the access to the region was only through passes over these Himalayan mountain ranges. These passes are still used by the local Gaddi tribe of the Brahmpur region and by the tribals like Gujars, Pangwals and Pakarwals. In the Dhauladhar range, there are 15 recognized passes. These are Chuari or Basodhan Pass between Chamba and Chuari, Kalinali Pass between Mehala and Rayatpur, Mahali Pass between Mehala and Tundi, Loa Pass between Mehala and Bhatti Tikri, Bohar Pass between Bakan or Bassu, Baleni Pass between Bassu or Pure, and Dharene in Kangra. Gag Bag or Bhim Ghazutri Pass between Kothi Ranhu and Kareri. Indrahara Pass between Kwarsi and Dharmsala. Kundli Pass between Kwarsi and Khaneara. Thoral Pass between Lamu and Narwana. Talang Pass between Holi and Narwana. Singrahar Pass between Deol and Kandi. Satnalo Pass between Garo and Bandla. Wahar Pass between Chenar and Bandla. And Sarai Pass between Sarai and Lanot. The Bohar Pass is passable for unladed hill cattle. The other passes are used by the Gaddis with their flocks. These passes are all closed from December till April. Most of take 2 days to cross. In Manimesh range, there is only one Chobu Pass between Kukti and Bada Bengal at a height of 16,500 feet, mean sea level. The road is rough and difficult, and it could be crossed in 3 marches. In Dagani Dhar, in order from west, there are 5 passes known as Padre Pass, Dagane Pass, Barare Pass, Mehalwar Pass, and Narangwari Pass. These passes now connect the Chamba region with the Doda region of Kashmir. The Padre Pass, Dagane Pass, and Barare Pass are closed from December to April, and Mehalwar Pass and Narangwari Pass from December till May. The Padre Pass is possible for riding ponies but not for the laden animals. In the mid-Himalaya or Pangi race, in order from the northwest, there are 8 passes. These are Dhauladhar or Kilu Pass, Sach Pass between Alwas and Kilaur in Pangi, Chehne Pass between Deviri Kothi and Mindhal, Maru or Charar Pass between Mawa and Tindi in Chamba, Lahore, Dharati Pass between Chanju and Tindi, Kalicho Pass between Badra and Tiloknath, Chopia Pass between Chobia and Tiloknath, and Kukti Pass between Kukti and Jobrang in Lahore. The Dhauladhar Pass, Sach Pass, Chehni Pass, Maru Pass are open from May till October, but the Dharati Pass, Kalicho Pass, Chobia and Kukti Pass are open from June till September, but Chobia is often closed in May. In the North Pangi range, in order from northwest, there are 3 passes. These are Sarsang Pass between Sural Nala and Danlong, Shinkil Pass between Hunan Nala and Danlong, and Mulla Pass between Tuan in Sichu Nala and Danlong Nala. As is in the western Himalaya or Zanskar range, in order from the northwest, there are 3 passes. These are Kak Pass between Danlong Nala and Padar, and Bardhan Gompa in Zanskar. Potla Pass between Danlong Nala and Padar, and Kangla Pass between Myar Nala in Chamba, Lahore, and Bardhan Gompa. The Kak Pass and Potla were just outside the state territory, but were closed by travelers from Pangi. In the East Lahore range, there is only one Tharangla Pass between Myar Nala and Dacha in Lahore. In the Gurdhar range, again there is only one Gurdhar Pass between Myar Nala and Bhator in Sechu Nala.
Geographically, the district Chamba is situated between north latitude 32 degree 10 minute to 33 degree 13 minute and east latitude 75 degree 45 minute to 77 degree 33 minute in the bosom of Himalaya.
The chronological order of Suryavanshi Moshun dynasty on the basis of state chronicle, image inscriptions, rock and stone slab inscriptions, copper plate inscriptions, and other material available with us begins with the accomplished yogi Maruvarman, who married a king's daughter and begot by her three sons. The elder was Himadri, to whom he bestowed his own kingdom of Kalpa on the bank of river Sarayu, and he left with other two sons with a small army towards western Himalaya, wherein the area was largely occupied by the Ranas and Thakus. He settled the other son Anangpal in the lower range of western Himalaya below Kashmir. Thereafter, with the third son Jayastham, he travelled towards Mount Kailash and founded the Brahmpur kingdom near Mount Kailash in the year 548 AD.
Chamba is the name derived from Champavati, daughter of Raja Sahil Varman, who founded this wonderful Champakpur town by shifting the capital of his kingdom from Brahmpur in the year 930 AD. It is also true that the place known to be Champa derived its name from Champakpur trees prior to the shifting of the capital. It was a semi-independent hill state under the control of the Punjab government during the British regime. Chamba was the capital and the only town in the principality which was having the population of only 6,000 during the census of 1901 and which was 20,327 during the census of 2001. Chamba state was merged to form a part of Himachal Pradesh on 15th April 1948. The district in the present form came into being on 1st November 1966, consequent upon the reorganization of the Eastwhale, Punjab. The Chamba state was known as Champakpur till 22nd January 1749 AD, as we find the said name in copper plate inscription of Raja Umed Singh. The Brahmpur and Champa kingdom was divided into gram and mandlas from the time of Maruvarman, and probably the number of mandlas rose to 84 during the time of Raja Sahil Varman, and the name of mandla continued till 23rd May 1678 AD as per the copper plate of Raja Chhatar Singh Varman. This is mention of Pargana instead of mandla on 23rd July 1776 AD as per the copper plate of Raja Rai Singh. This proves the fact that the mandlas were started recognizing as Pargana in the 18th century.
The Champakpur kingdom was divided into five regions on the basis of cultural and geographical divide, and these regions were known as Brahmpur or Brahmar Valley, Champakpur or Chamba Valley, Bhatyat or Bhatyat Valley, Pangan or Pangi Valley, and Chura or Chura Valley. These five valleys constitute the Champa kingdom or Chamba state and presently Chamba district of Himachal Pradesh. The population of Chamba state in the year 1901 was 1,27,894 and in 2001 it was 3,93,286. Who were the original inhabitants of this mountain area of Himalaya is of great concern. While going back to the Harappan period and coming to the Aryans, we find that the Ravi Valley was inhabited by the people called Dravidians during Harappan period, and thereafter the Aryans overtook them. It seems not improbable that the aborigines of this area, now represented to a large extent by the various low caste tribes which form a very considerable proportion of the population. These low caste tribes possess no traditions as to their original home, which tends to confirm the conjectures that a long period of time must have elapsed since they first migrated to this area. General Cunningham believed that the western Himalaya was at one time occupied by a true Korean group from the same race as Kols of central India. Aryans, being hillmen, tended to cling to hills, and there is clear evidence in Sanskrit literature of their presence in western Himalaya at a very early period, probably before that in which the hymns of the Rig Veda were compiled. We may therefore assume that the oldest strata of the population of Chamba are of very ancient origin. At present time, the four principal castes of divisions are Brahmin, Rajput, Thakur and Rati, of which the two latter may be regarded as one caste, and they include the great bulk of the high caste population. The Gaddis are a separate clan. The term Gaddi is a generic name, and it are included Brahmins, Rajput, Khatris, Thakurs and Rathis. In Sanskrit, the word Gadar means sheep, and the Gadri means shepherd, and Gadaran means country of shepherd. The Brahmins of Hadsar and Ranas of Ulansa do not consider themselves to be the Gaddis, and even today they have not been ascribed the status of steel tribe, which goes to prove that Gaddi is a separate clan. Gaddi Brahmin, Rajput and Khatris wears Yagyopavit, that is the sacred thread. Thakur and Rathis do not wear this. The lower castes are not considered to be Gaddis. However, the status of scheduled tribe has been given to them. Prior to the founding of Brahmpur kingdom by Raja Maruvarman in 548 AD, this region was under the rule of petty chiefs who bore the title of Thakur or Rana. These chiefs owned estates of very diminutive size and were called Ranu. They are said to have been constantly at war with one another, and their Ranu boundaries were in consequence very unsettled. Some of the state courties are said to stand on the very sites formerly occupied by the Rana's forts, and in several instances the ancient buildings themselves were in use. It is pretty certain that with short intervals of complete independence in periods of confusion, they must have been more or less subject and tributary to some superior power. They were under the Madar, Janpada, Porostu, Indo-Greeks, Mauryans, Gupta and rulers of Kashmir, and finally they were under the rule of Suryavanshi Chamba Rajvansh from Maruvarman onward. Churahis is a generic name for the people of Chura. Chura or Choraha is an abbreviation of Chaturaha, meaning the four roads, or Chaturdasa, the four regions, who include Brahmins, Rajput, Thakurs, Rathis and the low castes. The low castes are all endogamous. Tradition makes the Thakur descendants of the old Rana or petty chieftains who held Chamba prior to the foundation of the Champakpur kingdom by the Raja Sahil Varman and the Halis, its oldest inhabitants. The Pangwals are the inhabitants of Pangi in the Pangi region of district Chamba. The generic name includes the high caste Brahmins, Rajputs, Thakurs, Rathis, and the low caste Halis, Lohas, Meiks, and Dakis. There are also a few Tibetans in Pangi region that is called Bhots. The high castes have no restrictions either on food or marriage among themselves, but they do not eat or intermarry with the low castes nor with the Bhots. The family traditions of the Pangwals point to their having emigrated from various parts of the hills, some from Lower Chenab and the Ravi valleys, others from Lahore and Kullu. Laholis were inhabitants of Chamba Lahore, now in district Lahore and Spiti of Himachal Pradesh, and included Brahmins, Rajput, Thakurs, and Rathis with the low caste Halis and Lohars. There are also Bhots, but the other castes had no communion with them. These all castes are endogamous. The only Rajput families are those of the Ranas of the Loknath and Madgaon. The former intermarries with Rana families in the Ravi Valley and Bhatyat, the latter with Thakurs and Rathis. The marriage customs of Chamba Lahore are similar to those of Pangi of Chamba. Bhatyals is a generic name for the people of Bhatyat region of Chamba district, including Brahmins, Rajputs, Thakurs, Rathis, Mahajans, Kumhars, Jinwars, Nais, Tarkhans, Girs, etc., and the low castes. Caste restrictions were in full force, and social and marriage customs are much the same as in Kangra, and in accordance with Hindu practice. All the castes are endogamous, but the Rajputs often take wives from the Thakurs and the Thakurs from the Rathis, refusing, however, to give their own daughters in return.
There is no generic name for the people of the Sadar Vacharat or the central area of the Chamba region, which include representatives of almost all the castes in the Chamba region. The marriage and other social and religious customs are not uniform in the southern portion of the Chamba town. They assimilate to those of Barmor, and in the northern to those of the western portion of Chura. In the central portion, they are affected by proximity to the capital where caste rules are in force. The Bya or full marriage rite is everywhere customary. The Chamba is having rich cultural heritage. The whole of the year is celebrated with fairs, festivals, jatar, change custom and traditions. The people of Chamba are very conservative. The January month of the year witnesses the Lohri and Makar Sankranti. Thereafter, Hori in February-March. The blondes of Chamba are celebrating Hori in the palace while singing and dancing in the traditional style. Hori is followed by Suhi, Basoa, which means Baisakhi, Chamunda Jatar in April, Minjar in July.
बदला मेरा सैयों बदरा मेरा पिया पर दे नागे जाइए रे क्या फल खाइए रे भागे जाइए रे क्या फल खाइए रे नींबू लाइए तोड़ साया वे नींबू लाइए तोड़ बदरा मेरा पिया पर दे सैयों बदरा मेरा पिया पर दे परदेस गयो सावन आयो आयो रे सावन आयो रे सैया डोरा लाया बदरा मेरा पिया पर दे
Manimahesh Naun, in which is a holy bath in September. Besides, jatars, nahons, and chinj at many places on different times, as well as national fairs of Hindus like Dashera and Diwali, etc. For every season, there are different songs which are sung only during the particular month and time. Only potatoes, love songs, etc. are sung throughout the year. Non-seasonal songs are called dhad and sung only at the time of death ceremony. Language spoken by the people in different region is different. Gaddi language is prevalent in Bharmor, Chamyali in Chamba, Churahi in Churah, Pangwali in Pangi, and Bhatiali in Bhatiat. All these Pahari languages have originated from Sanskrit.
The attire of the people of different region is also different. Songs and dances are the life of the people. Being land of Shiva, the natural gift to the people is dancing and singing by the grace of Nataraj Shiva. Ghurei songs, Anchali, Musadhas, love songs, that is Patadu, are prevalent throughout the region. The typical musical instruments of Chamba are Rubana, Dopatra, Pipani, Shank, Naad, Sulsuli, Bunsuli, Nalgoju, Shehna, Bambui, Bans, Ranasinga, Karnal, Kahal, Nagfini, Turi, Jang, Thali, घड़ा, भाणा, घड़ियाल, छंछाल, कांसी, घंटा, हस्त घंटा, विजय घंटा, चिमटा, नगाड़ा, द्रग, तमक, पोहल, ढोल, ढोलकी, डफाल, खंजरी, डमरू, तिरड़ी और धौंस।
Gujars are said to be new importation around the beginning of 19th century, much more after the Muslim families arrived in Champakpur kingdom during Mughal period. They are found with their herds of buffaloes and cows on the slopes of many of the mountain ranges in the Ravi Valley. They migrate as a rule in spring and autumn between the outer hills and high ranges, but do not cross the Phangi range. Each family has its own dhar or grazing ground in the mountain hills. The Gujars are a fine handsome people with peculiar and characteristic features and dress which make them conspicuous. The Gujars make their living in parts of the district